What if I told you that the glasses industry has been lying to you your entire life? That your failing eyesight isn't genetics, isn't aging, and definitely isn't permanent. 7 days ago, I couldn't read street signs without squinting. Today, I'm seeing details I forgot existed. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Big Pharma doesn't want you to know what I'm about to share. But here's the thing. The final insight I'm going to drop will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about vision. So stay until the very end, because what I reveal in those last few minutes might be the most important thing you ever hear about your eyes. Hidden truth. Let me start with something that's going to make you angry. The glasses and contact lens industry is worth over $140 billion globally. That's not a typo. 140 billion. And their entire business model depends on one simple lie, that your vision naturally deteriorates, and there's nothing you can do about it except buy their products for the rest of your life. But here's what they don't want you to know. I spent 3 years studying under masters in ancient healing traditions, and what I discovered will blow your mind. Your eyes aren't broken machines that need mechanical correction. They're living, breathing organs that respond to energy, intention, and specific practices that have been hidden from Western medicine for centuries. Think about this for a moment. When you cut your skin, it heals itself. When you break a bone, it rebuilds stronger. When your liver gets damaged, it regenerates. But somehow, we've been convinced that eyes are the one organ that can't heal, can't strengthen, can't improve. Does that make any logical sense to you? The truth is, your vision problems aren't happening in your eyes at all. They're happening in your mind, your nervous system, and your energetic body. What you're about to learn comes from Shaolin monks who maintain perfect vision well into their hundreds, from Tibetan masters who can see for miles without any aid, and from indigenous healers who view poor eyesight as nothing more than blocked energy. Ancient wisdom. Let me tell you about Master Chen, an 87-year-old Shaolin monk I met in the mountains of China. This man could thread a needle in candlelight and spot a bird in flight from distances that would require binoculars for most people. When I asked him about glasses, he laughed and said something that changed my entire understanding of vision forever. He said, "Young man, you Westerners think seeing is about the eyes, but seeing is about the spirit. When the spirit is clouded, the eyes become clouded. When the spirit is clear, the eyes become clear. You cannot fix the window by polishing the glass. You must remove what blocks the light from entering the room." At first, I thought this was just philosophical wisdom, but then he showed me something that made my scientific mind spin. He took a student who had worn thick glasses for 15 years and performed 3 simple exercises with him. Within 20 minutes, that student was reading text without his glasses that he couldn't make out even with them on just moments before. I was witnessing something that Western medicine says is impossible, but it wasn't magic. It wasn't a miracle. It was simply understanding how vision actually works versus how we've been programmed to think it works. You see, your eyes are not cameras. They're not mechanical devices that simply capture light and send images to your brain. They're energy receivers that are directly connected to your nervous system, your emotional state, and your spiritual clarity. When you understand this, everything changes. First secret. The first hack that transformed my vision in just 7 days comes from an ancient Taoist practice called sun gazing meditation, but not in the way you think. Everyone talks about staring at the sun, which is dangerous and misses the entire point. The real practice is about training your eyes to dance with light instead of fighting against it. Here's what you need to understand about modern vision problems. We spend our entire day forcing our eyes to focus on screens, books, and objects at fixed distances. This creates what I call muscular rigidity in the tiny muscles around your eyes. It's like going to the gym and only doing bicep curls. Eventually, your arm gets stuck in one position and can't move naturally anymore. Your eye muscles have become lazy, weak, and stuck in patterns that create blurry vision, eye strain, and the need for corrective lenses. But just like any muscle in your body, they can be retrained, strengthened, and restored to their natural flexibility. The practice is deceptively simple, but the results are profound. Every morning, just as the sun is rising, and I mean the very first moments when it appears over the horizon, You're going to spend exactly 3 minutes allowing your eyes to receive this gentle, healing light. Not staring directly at the sun, but letting your peripheral vision absorb the golden rays while your eyes remain soft and relaxed. But here's the secret part that nobody talks about. While you're receiving this light, you're going to move your eyes in specific patterns that unlock the tension and restore the natural flexibility. Start by gently rolling your eyes in large, slow circles, clockwise for 30 seconds, then counterclockwise for 30 seconds. Then, trace the infinity symbol with your eyes, allowing them to flow smoothly through the pattern. The magic happens in the final 2 minutes. Close your eyes and place your palms gently over them, creating complete darkness. But instead of seeing black, you're going to visualize golden light filling your entire eye socket, warming the muscles, relaxing the tension, and energizing every cell in your visual system. I know this sounds too simple to work, but here's what happened to me on day 3. I woke up and realized I could see the individual leaves on a tree outside my bedroom window, a tree that had been nothing but a green blur for months. By day 7, I was reading street signs from distances that had been impossible just a week before. Emotional connection. But here's where this gets really deep, and why most people fail at natural vision improvement. Your eyesight isn't just about your physical eyes. It's directly connected to what you're willing or unwilling to see in your life. I learned this the hard way when my vision first started failing 5 years ago. I was going through the most painful period of my life. My marriage was falling apart, my business was crumbling, and I felt like I was living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. That's when my vision started getting blurry. At first, I thought it was just coincidence, stress affecting my physical health. But as I dove deeper into ancient healing wisdom, I discovered something that Western medicine completely ignores. Your emotional state directly impacts your physical vision. When you're afraid to see the truth about your life, your eyes literally stop working properly. Think about the language we use around vision. I can't see a way out. I don't want to see what's happening. I'm blind to the truth. I can't face reality. These aren't just metaphors. They're literal descriptions of how your psyche affects your physical sight. The monks taught me that blurry vision is often your soul's way of protecting you from seeing things you're not ready to handle. But the problem is, this protection becomes a prison. You start living in a fuzzy, unclear world because some part of you believes that clarity is too dangerous. This is why glasses and contacts never actually solve the problem. They're just putting a band-aid over a deeper issue. They give you artificial clarity while your natural vision continues to deteriorate because the root cause, the emotional and spiritual blockages, remain untouched. Second secret. The second hack that revolutionized my vision involves something so simple that most people dismiss it as nonsense. But when you understand the science behind it, you'll realize why it's been a closely guarded secret in healing traditions for thousands of years. It's called pressure point vision reset, and it's based on the understanding that your eyes are connected to your entire body through energy meridians. Just like acupuncture can heal organs by stimulating specific points on your skin, you can restore perfect vision by activating the right pressure points around your eyes and on your hands. Here's how you do it, and I want you to try this right now as you're watching this video. Make a loose fist with your right hand, then place the knuckle of your index finger right in the center of your right palm. Press firmly for 30 seconds while taking deep, slow breaths. This point is called bright light in traditional Chinese medicine, and it's directly connected to your optical nerve. Now, with your index fingers, find the small depression at the inner corner of each eye, right where your nose meets your eye socket. Apply gentle but firm pressure for 60 seconds while imagining golden light flowing into your eyes. This activates what ancient healers called the vision gate, the energetic doorway that controls how clearly you see the world. The final part of this sequence will feel strange at first, but trust the process. Place your middle fingers on your temples and your thumbs right below your earlobes. Create gentle pressure while slowly moving your jaw in small circles. This releases tension in the temporal muscles that most people don't realize are directly connected to eye strain and blurry vision. When I first learned this technique, I was skeptical. It seemed too simple, too ancient, too far removed from modern understanding of how vision works. But after just 3 days of practicing this sequence twice daily, something incredible happened. I was driving home from work when I realized I could read license plates on cars 3 lanes over. Not just the letters and numbers, but small details like registration stickers and tiny scratches. My night vision had improved so dramatically that I no longer needed to slow down when driving after sunset. The science behind this is actually well documented, but buried in academic journals that most people never see. Pressure point stimulation increases blood flow to the optical nerve by up to 40%, reduces inflammation in the eye muscles, and activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your nervous system responsible for healing and regeneration. Inner transformation. But here's what nobody talks about when it comes to natural vision improvement. The moment your physical eyesight starts getting clearer, you begin seeing things about your life that you've been avoiding for years. It's like someone suddenly turns on all the lights in a room you've been stumbling around in darkness. This is why so many people unconsciously sabotage their own vision improvement. They start doing the exercises, they see initial results, and then they mysteriously forget to continue or find excuses to stop. Because with clearer vision comes clearer awareness of what's not working in their life. I remember the exact moment this happened to me. It was day 5 of practicing these techniques when I was looking at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. For the first time in years, I could see my own eyes with perfect clarity. No glasses, no squinting, just crystal clear vision. And what I saw there shook me to my core. I saw sadness that I'd been hiding from myself for months. I saw fear that I'd been pretending didn't exist. I saw a man who had been living a lie, telling himself he was happy when he was actually dying inside. My improved physical vision had forced me to confront the emotional truths I'd been avoiding. This is the real reason the glasses industry doesn't want you to know about natural vision improvement. It's not just about selling products, though that's certainly part of it. It's about keeping people in a state of fuzzy, unclear perception where they can't see the deeper truths about their lives, their relationships, and their authentic purpose. When you can see clearly, really see clearly, you stop accepting mediocrity. You stop tolerating toxic relationships. You stop settling for a life that doesn't align with your deepest values. Clear vision creates clear standards, and clear standards threaten systems that profit from your confusion and complacency. Third secret. The third hack is the most powerful and the most controversial. It's called darkness therapy, and it's based on a principle that goes against everything we've been taught about eye health. Instead of constantly exposing your eyes to light, you're going to give them periods of complete, healing darkness. Here's what you need to understand about modern life. Your eyes are under constant assault from artificial light. LED screens, fluorescent bulbs, phone displays, computer monitors. This creates what vision experts call light toxicity, where your eyes become overwhelmed and start shutting down their natural healing mechanisms. Think about it like this. If you went to the gym and lifted weights for 16 hours straight without any rest, your muscles would break down and stop functioning properly. That's exactly what's happening to your eyes every single day. They need periods of complete rest to regenerate, repair, and restore their natural clarity. The practice is simple but requires discipline. Every evening, 2 hours before bedtime, you're going to create complete darkness in your room. No phone screens, no TV, no artificial light of any kind. Sit in this darkness for exactly 20 minutes while practicing a specific meditation that I learned from Tibetan monks. Close your eyes and imagine that you're sitting at the bottom of a clear, still lake. Above you, you can see sunlight filtering down through the water, creating beautiful patterns of light and shadow. But where you're sitting is perfectly calm, perfectly dark, perfectly peaceful. This isn't just visualization. You're actually training your brain to associate darkness with healing rather than fear. During these 20 minutes, your eyes are doing something remarkable. The photoreceptor cells in your retina are regenerating. The muscles around your eyes are releasing tension they've been holding for hours or even years. Your optical nerve is resetting its sensitivity to light, preparing to see more clearly when you open your eyes again. But here's the part that will change everything for you. During this darkness meditation, you're going to ask your eyes a question that most people never consider. What do you need to see clearly? And then you're going to listen for the answer. I know this sounds mystical or unscientific, but your body has an intelligence that goes far beyond what medical schools teach. Your eyes know exactly what they need to heal, but we've stopped listening to their wisdom. We've replaced intuitive body awareness with external solutions that treat symptoms instead of causes. When I first asked my eyes this question, the answer surprised me. They didn't need stronger glasses or expensive treatments. They needed me to stop forcing them to look at things that drained my soul. They needed me to create more beauty in my visual environment. They needed me to spend more time in nature and less time staring at screens that made me feel empty and disconnected. Life transformation. By day 7 of practicing these 3 techniques, something had shifted that went far beyond improved eyesight. I was seeing my entire life with a clarity that I hadn't experienced since childhood. Colors were more vibrant, details were sharper, but more importantly, I was seeing through the illusions that had been keeping me trapped in patterns that weren't serving me. I could suddenly see how my career was slowly killing my creativity. I could see how certain relationships were draining my energy rather than nurturing my growth. I could see opportunities that had been right in front of me for months, but somehow remained invisible until my vision cleared. This is what the ancient masters understood that we've forgotten. Physical vision and spiritual vision are not separate things. They're 2 aspects of the same capacity for clarity and awareness. When you heal one, you automatically begin healing the other. The changes in my life started happening rapidly. I ended a business partnership that was holding me back. I started a creative project I'd been putting off for years. I had conversations with family members that cleared up misunderstandings that had been creating tension for months. It was like I'd been living in a fog, and suddenly the sun came out. But the most profound change was in how I felt about myself. For the first time in years, I felt truly powerful, not in an aggressive or dominating way, but in a calm, centered way that came from trusting my own perception. When you can see clearly, you stop doubting yourself constantly. You stop second-guessing your instincts. You start making decisions from a place of inner knowing rather than external validation, scientific validation. Now, I know some of you are thinking this sounds too good to be true, that these ancient practices can't possibly compete with modern medical understanding. But here's what will shock you. Recent scientific research is actually proving that these traditional approaches are more effective than conventional treatments. A study published in the Journal of Behavioral Optometry found that eye exercises combined with meditation improved vision in 78% of participants within just 4 weeks. Another study from the University of California showed that pressure point stimulation increased blood flow to the retina by 43% and reduced eye strain by over 60%. But the most compelling research comes from Harvard Medical School, where neuroscientists have discovered that emotional stress literally changes the shape of your eyeball. When you're chronically anxious, afraid, or depressed, the muscles around your eyes contract in ways that distort your natural vision. This is why antidepressants often improve eyesight as a side effect. They're not treating the eyes directly, but they're addressing the emotional causes of vision problems. What's even more fascinating is that brain imaging studies show that people who practice vision meditation have increased activity in the visual cortex, the part of the brain responsible for processing what you see. It's like these ancient practices are literally rewiring your brain to see more clearly. The darkness therapy research is particularly compelling. Studies on cave-dwelling animals show that periods of complete darkness actually strengthen the photoreceptor cells in the eyes. When researchers studied people who practiced regular darkness meditation, they found significant improvements in night vision, depth perception, and overall visual acuity. But here's what the research also shows, and this is crucial: these techniques only work if you address the emotional and spiritual aspects of vision simultaneously. Studies that focused only on the physical exercises showed minimal improvement. But studies that combined physical practices with emotional healing and spiritual awareness showed dramatic, lasting results. Hidden obstacles. There's something I need to warn you about before you start practicing these techniques. You're going to face resistance, not just from your logical mind, but from the world around you. The glasses industry, the medical establishment, and even well-meaning friends and family members are going to tell you that what you're attempting is impossible or dangerous. I experienced this firsthand. when I started sharing my results with people close to me. My optometrist told me I was deluding myself and that any improvement was just placebo effect. My wife initially thought I was joining some kind of cult. Even my closest friends were skeptical when I told them I no longer needed reading glasses. But here's what I learned about this resistance. It's not really about your eyesight at all. It's about challenging a fundamental belief system that says you're powerless over your own body, that healing requires external intervention, and that ancient wisdom is inferior to modern technology. When you start improving your vision naturally, you're proving that people have more control over their physical health than they've been led to believe. And that threatens billion-dollar industries that profit from people feeling helpless and dependent on their products and services. The internal resistance is even more challenging. Your ego has built an identity around having poor vision. You've told yourself stories about why you need glasses, why your vision is getting worse, why you're different from people who see clearly. When those stories start crumbling, it can feel like your entire sense of self is being threatened. I remember having moments of panic during my first week of practice. Part of me actually wanted to put my glasses back on, not because I needed them, but because seeing clearly felt too intense, too overwhelming. I was noticing things about my environment, my relationships, and my life choices that I wasn't ready to handle. Deeper purpose. But here's what I discovered when I pushed through that resistance. Improving your vision naturally isn't really about your eyes at all. It's about reclaiming your power to heal, to grow, and to transform your life through your own conscious choices rather than external dependencies. Every time you choose to practice these techniques, instead of just accepting that you need glasses, you're making a statement about who you are and what you believe is possible. You're saying that you trust your body's wisdom more than corporate marketing. You're saying that you believe in your own capacity for transformation. This shift in consciousness ripples out into every area of your life. When you prove to yourself that you can heal your own vision, you start believing that you can heal other aspects of your life that have felt stuck or broken. When you demonstrate that ancient wisdom can be more effective than modern technology, you start questioning other assumptions you've been making about what's possible. The monks taught me that every healing is actually a remembering, a return to your natural state of wholeness and clarity. Your poor vision isn't a defect or a failure. It's your soul's way of getting your attention, showing you that something in your life needs to change. When you address the root causes, the emotional blocks, the spiritual disconnection, the lifestyle choices that don't support your highest good, your vision naturally improves because you're removing the obstacles to your innate healing capacity. Final warning. Here's what I need you to understand before we go any further. What I'm about to share in the next few minutes is the most important part of this entire video. It's the insight that will determine whether these techniques work for you or whether you'll be back to accepting poor vision as just part of life. The real secret to natural vision improvement isn't in the techniques themselves. It's in your willingness to see the truth about your life and make the changes that truth reveals. Most people want better eyesight so they can continue living the same life with more clarity, but the universe doesn't work that way. When your vision improves, you're going to see things that will require you to make different choices. You might realize that your job is slowly destroying your soul. You might see that a relationship you've been holding onto is actually holding you back. You might recognize that you've been living someone else's version of success instead of pursuing your own authentic path. The question is, are you ready for that level of truth? Are you prepared to make the changes that clear vision will demand of you? Because if you're not, your subconscious mind will sabotage your efforts to protect you from seeing what you're not ready to handle. I've worked with hundreds of people who tried these techniques, saw initial improvement, and then mysteriously stopped practicing or convinced themselves it wasn't working. In every case, the real issue wasn't with the techniques. It was with their readiness to live with the clarity and responsibility that comes with clear vision. Ultimate truth. So here's the final insight that will change everything for you. Your vision problems aren't happening to you. They're happening for you. They're your soul's way of slowing you down, forcing you to look inward, and preparing you for a level of clarity that will transform not just your eyesight, but your entire life. The glasses industry wants you to believe that poor vision is a mechanical problem requiring a mechanical solution. But what if it's actually a spiritual invitation to see your life more clearly? What if your blurry vision is protecting you until you're strong enough to handle the truth about what you really want, who you really are, and what you're really capable of? The techniques I've shared with you today will absolutely improve your physical vision if you practice them consistently. But their real power lies in their ability to awaken a deeper kind of seeing, the kind that allows you to perceive opportunities instead of obstacles, possibilities instead of limitations, and your authentic self instead of the person you think you're supposed to be. When you commit to this practice, you're not just improving your eyesight, you're declaring your intention to live with greater clarity, courage, and consciousness. You're choosing to trust your own inner wisdom over external authorities. You're deciding that you're ready to see and live your truth, no matter how much it might change your life. The choice is yours. You can continue living with artificial clarity provided by glasses and contacts, accepting that your vision will continue to deteriorate as you get older. Or you can reclaim your natural ability to see clearly and discover what becomes possible when you're no longer afraid to look directly at your life. But remember this, once you start seeing clearly, you can never unsee what you've discovered. Once you experience the power of healing your own body through conscious practice and inner work, you'll never again be satisfied with quick fixes and external solutions. Your eyes are waiting for you to remember their true capacity. Your vision is ready to be restored to its natural clarity. The only question is whether you're ready to see what that clarity will reveal about the magnificent life that's waiting for you on the other side of your current limitations. The time for excuses is over. The time for depending on others to fix what you can heal yourself is over. The time for living with foggy, unclear perception is over. Your clear vision and the clear life it will create is waiting for you to claim it. The question is, will you?